Right, so in this one, we've pretty much thrown everything out the window. To be honest, there's plenty to talk about this week, as you can imagine. There is every single week, but the only story on our and everyone else's mind is the pump story. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover the entire storyline, essentially, basically from what happened towards the back end of last week. I think when it was announced that the token sale and the allocation was going to go live. Then we are going to discuss what we know up to this point now, which is Wednesday, the 16th. And then we're also going to talk a lot about the deliberation over whether you're trading the pump token or not, the moral aspect that comes with that as well. Can't fight the tide. Is it a case of trading attention, trade vibes, etc., etc.? Or do you just fundamentally hate pump.fun as a platform so much that you refuse to touch the token and therefore would rather not see any of the upside? Well, there's a lot of nuance. There's a lot of decision that different people are probably making. Myself and Grant even have different opinions on this, even as we're chatting through. So, let's get into pump and see what you think. Let us know as well down below in the comments and stuff if you're trading pump, what you think of the story so far this week, and where you think it goes from here. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I'm just trying to keep on top of everything that is moving at the minute, as we all are, which is just like proving very difficult. So we have no Gaz because we are on the wrong day, the wrong editing time, the wrong recording time. So it's just going to be us trying to make sense of everything that's going on at the minute. To cut to the chase, we're not going to talk about anything apart from the pump fund stuff on this week's episode because we had all sorts of plans for, everything else that is consistently moving across this industry. But this feels like the only one worth really digging our teeth into now, if I'm honest. So that's kind of the only place to start, really. We probably will talk about price action as well, if I'm being completely honest, because it has been wild in the last 24, 40 hours, but it's also been a bit of a wild ride. So we're going to basically start at the top and make our way through what we know so far. So the first movement that we saw was towards the back end of last week on the pump story, when we obviously the team announced the video of the token sale and what would happen there. And I'm going to just pull up the story on what we got that was confirmed at the time. And you're going to have to bear with us as we try and freestyle our way around this, because, as I say, there's a lot of moving parts. So starting from the top, Pump Fund 600 million token sale is coming. Here's what you need to know. So ahead of its public token sale, which was scheduled to kick off on the 12th of July, which was... I thought it was Monday, but the token went live on Monday. The sale was just before that. So the pump token sale will offer 150 billion tokens, which was priced at 0.004, amounting to a potential 600 million raise, which would represent 15% of the total supply of 1 trillion, pump tokens. So the sale closed on July 5th and obviously followed a first come, first serve format, with accepted subscription assets like USDT, USDC, Solana, and Bybit staked Sol and variant BB Sol. So this is what the token distribution looked like. So they kind of carved out 20% for the team, 13% for existing investors, 33% from an ICO point of view, 2.6% for liquidity and exchanges, 2% for the foundation, 2.4% for ecosystem fund, 3% for live streaming, and 24% for community and ecosystem initiatives. So before we get on to what happened next from here, what did you think of the token distribution information that they announced first and foremost?
Have you seen that famous meme where there's three different guys, but with three different haircuts, and one's the CTO, one's the CMO, and one's the founder? Distributions, you have to be very careful when you look into it. It's how many times can you say the same thing without it looking like you've got such a high concentration in one specific basket? Yeah. So there was a lot of memes going around saying vast majority of it's still you could cross it all out and say team, which is fair enough. But I think doing the raise at such a large percentage is good. People have been expecting this kind of airdrop to happen. So have been rumors around this $2,000 max airdrop. I spoke to Adam, who does the amazing dashboards yesterday. Had a call with him. He seems to think it's just rumors. I don't know anyone who's so far in the weeds with all this, like pulling all the data and analytics out of it. And he seems to think it's rumors, and it could be a lot larger. There is that community initiatives kind of thing that could kind of encompass an airdrop. So, and yeah, the live stream one's interesting because what is it, 3%?
Yeah,
Right.
3%.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was reading that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So 3%. Like obviously that the hiccups with it getting quite dark with some of the live stream and stuff. Does this then allow them to fulfill this need of getting good creators on the platform to try it disrupt TikTok, to try it disrupt YouTube, to try it disrupt insert any kind of like video platform here, Twitch, Rumble, blah 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 blah. I think it's pretty interesting. If that is the path they want to go down, it feels like they've keep coming back to this, that they want, that's what they want to do. So yeah, I think it's pretty good distribution to be in all honesty. Yeah.
There's further context here with what we talked about with the Let's Bonk thing as well, isn't there? And that kind of flying into the driving seat from a launchpad point of view on Solana. And, what do you think was, if you were to be a fly on the wall, what would you guess be the conversations that were happening around Pump when that was what everyone was talking about last week? A week feels like a year.
Yeah, it really does. I think what will have happened is the kind of clientele that Pump have got around them have had a brilliant past 24 months. So like the Alliance team and some of those early investors like Mike Dudas and people like that as well, they'll have seen the pendulum swing. And then as soon as the Bonk launchpad started to tick over to dominating the launchpad kind of like wars on Solana, anything that was like, oh, we might just do it in 2 weeks, might just do it in 3 weeks, just gets dragged forward. Like you do not have the opportunity or the luxury of time when stuff like that happens, because think about how long it took people to switch over to Rabby from MetaMask. Once muscle memory sets in, it's a fucking bastard to like to actually do anything else. You
No
do
comment.
not let users go anywhere else. Yeah, Alex still uses fucking.
Don't, by the way, I am.
He's holding out for that. He's holding out for that MetaMask airdrop. He's still doing MetaMask swaps in wallet.
I'm Robbie, by the way. However, I'm having a bad week for that stuff because the Lamps interview went out, and I was like, there's a point where I was talking about I'm still petrified of bridging from time to time, and I was like, people are going to think I'm a fucking mong on chain. I don't like on chain. But you are right. Yeah. So I broke your train of thought there. Sorry. Carry on what you were saying.
But that's what tokens are all about, right? If you think about absolutely everything, tokenization is so powerful because it allows globally coordinated kind of mass, what's like the correct word, bootstrapping of use cases, as opposed to kind of, usually you just throw a shitload of money at it. Like if you think about the Airbnbs or Ubers of the world, like I'm pretty sure they only got profitable a couple of years ago, and like all the subsidized rides or subsidized stays that you'd came to know and love when like those apps were initially rolling out, that money has to come from somewhere, right? And that's VC money getting burnt and burnt and burnt and burnt with tokens, because they just plop from fucking thin air and people assign a value to them. You got to think about it like this. It's like, can you go and incentivize people with your specific token playing on the speculation factor that they're going to get a higher return in the future? So it's this total new customer acquisition cost that is using tokenization as opposed to burning a shitload of VC money. Now, that Pump of raise, there is that aspect of it as well. But if you think about Bonk, they're doing it because like they're incentivizing people to go and use the platform because everything's gone up. they've flipped it on its head. Bonk graduation rates are higher than Pump's. Now Pump have realized like we need to drag everything forward and we need to get some capital and probably start deploying it into some of the ecosystem things to make things go up. And that's kind of what's happening at the minute, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So fast forward to the 14th, when we're going to like quickly jump into the pre-sale stuff. Now, essentially, if you are new to this story as well, and you're kind of trying to understand how we got here from there, as I've said, like part of what they announced as part of the token sale was that there would be certain pre-sales going live on some centralized exchanges, being namely the two that we'll cover here, Bybit and Kraken, which then caused a little bit more of a stir as well because of reasons that I'm about to explain. Typical centralized exchange fashion, I suppose, really, in that there was talk of you register for the pre-sale, blah 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 blah. All feels a bit like trying to get Glastonbury tickets, and then all of a sudden, everyone that thought that they maybe had the tokens were told that they weren't. So, was it rogued? Pumped up fund token sale sparks uproar after API failures and frozen funds. So, the token sale had shifted from a headline success to community frustration. Again, we're reading this in the past, so we're trying to do this in like a chronological story order here for you. So, despite raising 600 million in just 12 minutes on the 12th, Pump then became under fire with what many saw as a mishandled distribution and just shoddy as fuck communications from the supporting exchanges, as I've said, namely being Bybit and Kraken. So, quite incredibly, Bybit said that there'd been an oversubscription and there'd been a glitch in the API, which meant that they hadn't been able to capture that. So all of the data that was coming in, people were maybe promised tickets. I'm still in Glastonbury.
You're still on
I'm
Glastonbury mode.
still in Glastonbury. People who maybe thought that they'd got the token were then told, sorry, you don't have the token. And then there's some comms here from Bybit where it said the token sale concludes amid oversubscription. Allocation results are under review. The pump token sale is now concluded. Due to an unexpected API delay, the offering was oversubscribed. And then I'm just going to pull this up on the screen here. I'll read it out for those of you on Spotify. The pump token sale is now concluded. Due to an unexpected API delay, the offering was oversubscribed, resulting in a portion of users successfully receiving their allocation while others were not. For users who submitted subscription when funds remain in a frozen state, we are currently verifying the final allocation outcomes. Users who do not receive an allocation due to the unexpected API delay will have their funds fully refunded. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience caused and appreciate the patience and continued support of our community. Now, as you'd expect, people were furious. Just going to read out some of the tweets here as well, where we've got, I'm going to share my whole screen here so you can see right behind the curtain. So, Donk Retired Lord, which is one of the handles, said, LMAO such a fucking wrecked show. I guess Bybit had to recover their 2.5 billion worth of hacked Ethereum back somehow, huh? And then there's a kind of quote tweet from someone who said, lol, even with this, I didn't make it. What the fuck are you guys doing? So there was confirmation of the time that the token was basically purchased on the pre-sale. And then Bybit is still blaming that on an API failure. So then the powers that be, the PR wizards of the blockchain space, I have no idea who you are, but if you're listening, said, hey guys, I know what'll fix this. Sorry you didn't get the tokens that we literally confirmed that you'd received. Here's a $20 spot free saver voucher, which then, as you can probably imagine, just added fuel to the fire. So, yeah, there was just all sorts of questions around transparency, backwards practices, screaming red flags. Yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on. There are just endless amounts of shit to wade through on this, which no one really fully knows what's happened here from a Bybit point of view, right? Like, no one
Never
really.
gonna.
You're never going to, but credit where it's due. We're talking about a Bybit team here who handled an exploit, a hack, whatever you want to call it, in the most expert fashion I've ever seen. So even though we're poking fun at the whole $20 voucher thing, it's hard to know because I don't want to in any way point fingers at nefarious activity on that sort of on that front. Like, what do you think? And give my voice a break there.
No crime. I don't know. So, few points. So, despite a bad situation, I just think this is fucking sick for Solana. Like, raising kind of 75% of the whole rate, like the whole 600 million raise, was done on Solana in 12 minutes. No fees spiked to 2 cents. No API issues, no RPC issues. Like, itself is like truly, 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 truly impressive for like any raise. Doesn't matter what the product is, and the demand. And I just love the fact that it was the vast majority of it was on chain. If that makes any sense. Now getting to the centralized exchange counterparts, which are already beginning to eat shit. Like we covered at the end of last week's episode, that centralized exchanges are losing market share and volume to decentralized exchanges. This doesn't help. Like cases like this just categorically do not help. It starts to be like, well, if there's a quicker, faster, cheaper, more reliable service, why the fuck would I go off chain? Which is good. Like I love that. I think it's amazing. I'm just going to put tinfoil hat on for a second. So spicy take inbound. This doesn't do Bonk Guy being Ben from Bybit any favors. That doesn't do that rumor any favors. Do you want to double click into that one? Because
I don't know.
it really doesn't begin to add up.
The reason I hung in the air on that is because I can't work out if I want to go down that route.
Right,
But
so let's just
put
put a pin in that one.
You clearly want to. So go on, tell me what you think.
Oh, there's been rumors for a while, and a lot of people kind of like map Ben from Bybit's face onto Bonk Guy's PFP and say it's the same person, and there's been some crossover with wallets and stuff like that. But if you think about it from if let's just say there was a hypothetical situation or a parallel universe where that is true, the exchange that is selling like a large amount of pump tokens, which is now in this current zeitgeist the main competitor to Bonk. If that token sale is going live, would you really want to kind of like support it? Would you want it to be kind of like sour from a PR perspective and get their hands on it? I don't know. I'm just putting tinfoil hat on for a second. And then Kraken had a similar fucking issue. I think 2 people managed to take up the majority of the raise. So
this is like crypto's version of people claim that Banksy is in.
This is Alex Jones. This is like
Alex Jones type shit. So essentially, to move that conversation on from Bybit, so Kraken also had some technical issues during the sale. So the co-founder Arjun basically connected some of the problems that they'd had. Basically, some valid orders being refunded while the late ones went through. So to sort of recover some trust, they did handle it slightly better than a $20 meal ticket, and they basically promised an airdrop of pump tokens for those affected, which was understandably received a lot better than what the previous
what will happen there though? Like, is you're from like a comms background? Do you think the hack will have been a total third-party crisis management team that came in and tidied that up? Do you think? Because it's certainly not the same team that have just handled that.
Well, that's interesting, yeah, because let me just pull this up. So this came to my mind, and then when they kind of tweeted the whole, the oversubscription, blah blah blah. There was a tweet from Runner XBT, and it was like, fire your PR company right now, which is what you're getting at. And as we've just said, this is a Bybit team that have historically nailed crisis management. And by the way, I don't think this is anywhere near as big of a crisis as.
No, obviously not. But
yeah, but I do think that big respect for Ben as an operator, and it's hard to say because I've seen certain PR agencies posting certain media and content on behalf of Bybit. I'm not going to point names or dig anyone out who I've had questionable views on anyway. But something doesn't add up with the handling of that. And however, the difference here is that's less of a PR issue and that's more of a operational decision. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like
okay.
with the hack, it was, this is how we put this fire out. You over communicate, tell everyone every single thing that is happening at every moment as we have an update. This is less about that. This is, what can we do? $20 lollipops. That's less of a PR thing.
Do you think it's like, right, we fucked up, let's turn a bad situation into a kind of like covert marketing stunt, and let's see how far we can piss people off by just giving them $20, because then everyone's going to interact with it.
Yeah, no. And I know you're a fan of disruptive marketing, but not in the way that they've handled that. And I would never, I would
Well,
never
whoever
expect.
it is needs sacking. Honestly, it's
Yeah,
fucking
I
pathetic.
would never expect a centralized exchange to be that brazen, by the way, with something like that either. Apart from when we saw Alex take over Coinbase the other day, which was also interesting to see some of the tweets that were coming out from, the boomers and the finance lords saying, this is not how I want my financial institution to act. So I certainly don't think, in the Asian market in particular, I certainly don't think Bybit would have viewed this as a marketing stunt
It's a
opportunity.
good job we don't own a centralized exchange. Jesus Christ, we got out of business in a week.
Yeah, yeah. It'd be good business though for the week that we existed. I think. Right. So then, moving swiftly on to hopefully get us to the place where we are, not quite where we are this morning, but almost there. So, Pump One ICO breakdown. So, the latest state of affairs, timestamping this on the 15th of July, which was about 3 o'clock in the
Yesterday.
morning, my time. Yesterday, though, so again, has been slightly outdated since the time of publishing. So, Pump.Fun obviously plastered all over CT. So, as we know, raised about the 600 million, well, a billion, depending on which way you want to slice this up. And it sold out in 12 minutes. So there's just another breakdown of the total sold, the website pre-sale versus centralized exchange, who Adam has pulled this as well, who, Grant, you were mentioning just the start of the show. So website pre-sale being 76% and the centralized exchange thing being 24%, which, again, really good indicator of people's habitual desire to be on chain, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, allocation burn now. So there's a research out of Taiwan basically claims they accidentally burned 10 million pump airdrop worth over 75k while using the tool to clear up airdrop junk tokens. Didn't even notice myself till I saw it on the fucking news that night. Whether this is true, I don't know. I haven't got the mental capacity to kind of dig into whether I think this is or isn't true. Some CT bros have been farming engagement and running scams with my wallet address. He's the real one straight from me. I was just minding my business using Axiom, saying that he's obviously like burned the tickets. So there's a community debate that's gone on here. So Coinbase's head of product, Conor Grogan, has time and time again pointed out that the great majority of tokens launched on Pump Fun and other similar launch pads are created by bots, which we are going to then steer this conversation towards the criticism that Pump is often in. And then there's further data that reveals that out of the 202 wallets who bought the million worth of Pump on the public sale, around 63.9% have made an outbound transfer or a sale so far. Resultantly, a section of the community is also viewing this from the lens of an extraction event. So before we move on, what do you think of that? Because I feel like I can't believe that extraction is the first time in 20 odd minutes that this is the first time that the word extraction has appeared in this.
So people saying that there's right. So let's take a step back. Like the sale in and of itself was at 0.004 cents, right?
Yep.
So the pre-launch perp on Hyperliquid was probably sat around 0.0055 to 0.006, right? So potentially up 50% from before before it actually gone live compared to the pre-sale price. I don't get how there is like the reason that I've kind of like went heavy on it is how can there be levels of extraction when everyone's got the same cost basis at 0.004 minimum? Fair enough if the private, like the team and the private investors from years gone by had got an unlock and their cost basis was like drastically lower, probably 1,000x lower. I don't get where the extraction is. I think what's happened is people have expected it to immediately go up, which it is doing now at the time of recording. They've seen it hasn't bolted out of the gates, and then they've just said, "Fuck this! I'm going to go and buy Bonk," which has also been ripping. So I don't understand where people are getting this idea of extraction from. It's like this has been a private sale to investors, institutional, 400 million of it, and then a public sale at the same time, same price to anyone who wanted to participate. Obviously, barring Bybit or Kraken users by the looks of it. So I think it's just people being shit at trading, to be completely honest, and not knowing dynamics of what is at play. If the team were unlocked and if the private investors were unlocked, where I think the initial pre-seed was 20 million FDV, and there were like an oversupply of tokens coming on the market, and it was down only, then yes, you could potentially angle for that. But everyone's got the same cost basis at 0.004. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because as you say that, it's obviously Hasib would put a tweet out, just kind of quote tweeting the video, saying, kind of not really shilling it, just like impressed by the video and sort of saying it's one of the largest ICOs ever. And then quote tweet is, Pump Fund and those supporting it, in brackets, even at arm's length, a Pied Pipe is leading Gen Z to ruin. Interesting how they use Gen Z as well. Like, we're certainly not Gen Z. But is that what you're saying, that you think people are just being fucking idiots?
So what I think he's getting at, and this is the common issue that this space has, it's two different things, and it's two different products. The Pump token is one product, and the Pump platform is another product. And this is what investors, founders, builders, everyone across the industry struggle to wrap their head around. They are two totally different things, right? So the platform in and of itself, I mean, we did a video on the main Blockmates feed a couple of weeks back showing the likelihood of hitting you've got more chance to win the lottery. TLDR on that video if you don't want to watch it, but you can go and watch it. It's pretty good. It goes into the data behind it. The platform in and of itself, is, a bit funky at best, right? And it is completely run by bots. You probably will start to see more runners on the platform now that there is large raise. There's probably capital going to be pumped in to prop up these tokens. More people come back to it because they know there's like a larger upside. That will happen. I think it already is happening. The token, you just got to think about them as two separate things. This is where people get like totally like wrapped up in the sauce. They try and make sense of something that is nonsensical. Like, and you can't like mid curve this thing. You've got to be completely left curve about absolutely everything when it comes down to this sort of stuff. It's a token. Yes, product is probably bad. People are going to lose a lot of money if you don't know what you're doing. Doesn't mean that you can't trade the token. So usually when something's really divisive like this as well, hate rallies tend to happen. So you got to put your kind of like bias aside. And I've been critical about it for quite some time. Dug into the data, did multiple different pieces of content and videos around it to kind of show what the platform's like. But I'll still trade the token. I'll still buy it.
Well, that's what I was trade vibes, basically. Again, which
trade vibes.
Vibe
trader.
Whether negative or positive, whatever. I mean, so there's a few things that we could kind of go into there, isn't there? There's one thing that we said about 10 minutes ago was the overwhelming positivity that you felt this shone a light on Solana, given that it was able to support this. Again, I remember having a similar conversation when we were wading through the Trump shite when that launched. So I know you have quite strong feelings there. But I'm also kind of shocked to hear you tell me that, I don't want to say like bullish pull, because I think you, as I say, you've literally we've done videos and covered the perils of potentially that. But are you saying that you can be bearish on the platform but bullish on the token, and vice versa?
Yes. Yes. Because you can be bearish on the opportunity to make money on the platform as an average person.
Yeah.
But this is the greatest casino ever invented. Ever. Casinos aren't inherently profitable. Like, they're just categorically not. But this is the greatest casino like humans have ever made.
Meme
on
coins.
Top of the greatest. Well, yeah, like crypto's the greatest casino like ever invented, and then Pumped Off Fun is the greatest casino ever invented in the best casino ever invented. You know what I mean? It's like there's a reason they've made 750 million over the past 18 months. The fastest company to ever get to 100 million revenue on planet Earth. The third largest company revenue per employees. Like, so you're telling me something that's raising that 4 billion valuation and 75% of it's locked and everyone's getting the same cost basis isn't worth investing. Plus, there's an awful lot of market shenanigans that the team are obviously quite privy to participating in. And, crime pays, and it has done for the past 18 months. So for me, it was just the most obvious purchase ever, to be honest.
Yeah, it's it's tricky because we've definitely been like fundamentally bearish pump for quite some time in terms what the platform itself, but it's you kind of separate the art from the
The art
artist.
from the artist,
Yeah,
Michael
and
Jackson.
oh man, already something I can't say on this. We're going to get taken off YouTube. So
Yeah, Chris
look,
Brown just sold out of like a fucking arena in the UK or something as well, didn't he?
yeah, did you see the video where they were stopping people outside the stadium and asking if they were what? We're not going to talk about Chris Brown. Are we just trying to get taken off?
Yeah. We'll have
Yeah.
to move if we get banned off YouTube. We'll have to move to Pump Fun live streams and get some money back.
Right. So this Mike is the CEO at EtherFi, and he said Pump Fun is a predatory business built on hyper gambling and negative sum outcomes for all players. The more dormant it becomes on Solana, the more of a permanent black market is. There are plenty of businesses that make money that are disgusting and exploitative: payday loans, MLM schemes, timeshares, football betting. To throw that in there as well. It's not enough to say that it makes money and has users. So this is a kind of that's an opposite take to what you're saying. Well, it's not. It's not really. It's not an opposite take. What? Let me
I
explain
can't.
what I mean.
I agree with all
Yeah,
of that,
I
but
agree. Yeah,
it's and
but
Mike's
you
great
bet.
as well. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. And I agree with it as well. As a platform, I'm not a fan, and I would never. I'm not trading new launches on Pump Fun. But fundamentally, what we're saying, or what you're more specifically you're saying here, is it's foolish not to bet on noise. Full stop.
Yeah, 100%. That's literally what you're here to do.
What if that comes with you know, what if that what comes with that though? Like, what are you willing to risk from the industry's point of view? Like, because there's many calls that like Solana needs Pump Fund to disappear for it to be, you
Yeah.
know,
Uh, I mean, you start to then go down the stupid route of what is ethical investing. It's like
yeah,
just starts to become a silly conversation. It's going to happen with you or without you. So get on the train or step out the way of it. In my opinion,
fair enough. Yeah,
you're not gonna change anything by not buying it, are you? Like, let's be completely honest. Or you
yeah,
can just take the stance that I personally have, and I think you have as well. It's like platform bad, token good for a short term trade.
short term trade. Yeah. So it's two things really, isn't it? It's like you're either looking at it from a trading point of view or you're looking at it from a purist point of view, and it's like, yet again, do you want it's a question you ask yourself. Do you want to be like morally supportive of something that is fundamentally awful if it means you making money from a trading point of view?
What are we here to do? Like, what do you want me? What should we do? Should we wait for some immutable permissionless DeFi tokens to rip 10x? Like every fundamental token on the planet, other than hype, has ate shit for the past 2 years. So this is what spawned Pump. Let's have it right, and like let's have this out. It's like low float, high FTV, overly fundamentally driven products, finding solutions to problems that don't exist, are what caused the pendulum to swing completely back the other way and create a platform like Pump. People were so sick of buying stuff like on paper that they should technically go up, stick to the intelligent investor, throw that book in the bin, and then like equal you get Pump Fun out the other end, which is launch a token for $2, hyper speculation, literally no product attached to it whatsoever. I know they're trying to do that now, but it's the same. It's like, which one would you rather do? Don't like piss on my back and tell me it's raining by trying to sell me this beautifully fundamentally driven product where fucking A16Z have spent 100 million on the last fucking round and tell me that's a good investment when some people just want to buy stuff that goes up. Like, I just don't get like this kind of purist fundamentals approach when it hasn't worked for the past 2-3 years. So that is exactly what spawned Pumped Up Fun. So people can't really complain about it because the game is now not rigged in their favor. The most people who are vocal about it.
I'm conscious some people might listen to this and kind of take it the wrong way. That because well, I know some people will, and that's why I want to dwell on it. Is that because I know what you're saying, and I want to try and like break
The thing
down.
is, it's holding two conflicting opinions at the same time, which
Yeah,
people struggle with nuance.
exactly. Because in an ideal world, you wouldn't be dealing with VC invested insanity for high quality, like actual utility projects. That in an ideal world, project A that solves problem B would be the highest value token, wouldn't it?
But
And
it also now is though. Like the
yeah,
the two
yeah,
sol-
technically,
the two solutions to that problem have been pumped up fun and hype. Give all the tokens to the community, make it a give it all away. Don't raise any money. Fair access, fair launch, fair everything. That was the fork in the road, and that was the good path. Pumped up fun was trying to solve the same problem but got to a different solution. So
but now they have gone
and
down the
and
razor. Yeah.
and yeah, but like what I'm getting at is like the fundamentally irrelevant projects that raise ungodly amounts of money that could market extremely well to people, the average person on the street, and kind of pulled the wool over their eyes and had extremely bad distribution problems. So their tokens had incredible down only technology. People have got so fed up with that, crashed out of that. I'm not buying fundamentals. I'm not buying DeFi. This is a lot of shit. Why should I buy something that has 3% circulating supply and it's just going to get diluted to fuck over the next 25 years? So the pendulum swings the other way. You get pumped off fun waiting to launch a token for $2 and hyper speculation, and it actually goes up. So people are satisfied with that. But then you also get hyper fair launch, the complete antithesis of this VC low float high FDV bullshit, and you get hyper liquid out the end of it as well. So the fork in the road was really interesting, really good. What I think you will see as well, this is a really good way to be extremely early to trends. Now that we're seeing institutional adoption and semi-permissionless and permissionless chains, I guarantee you see a pendulum swing back to core DeFi stuff, immutable, permissionless, actual DeFi, and then that should get traction. It's the same as anything. The vegan movement gets met by the carnivore movement. Like, look at any trend in real life or in the markets, there will be an equal and opposite reaction in the other way. And if you can catch it before it takes off, you will do extremely well.
Right. You've gone down a route there that I was going to try and take you down before you even
Take me
because
down a dark path.
yeah. Well, because look, everything you're saying I agree with. I don't like it, but I agree with it because what I wanted to ask is, well, how do we get back to a place where a place of DeFi summer, which is
Mhm.
an idyllic fantasy land that maybe we're still living in, where quality stuff gets the attention and volume, and because if that means people are here to make money, token appreciation, like, is that where we go? Is that what you're saying, that we will get the pendulum swing again when people will now be so burned on pump and all this shit that then they will move back to a place of fundamentals? Or are we completely screwed because of everything we're saying about allocation and distribution and dilution and everything?
Yeah, I think categorically any projects that don't have their going forward, if it's a new launch project, you have to be closer to the gold standard of what Hyperliquid has done. Doesn't mean you can't raise. I appreciate some teams need to raise. Not everyone has like enough capital to be able to set aside for 2 years and go and build. Nothing wrong with raising, and there's nothing wrong with people betting on stuff really early and capturing the upside for taking the risk in it. But then don't fuck up your distribution and like try and make out that you've got this amazing community and you've got 5% float on the market, and unbeknownst to you, you could like literally convince someone with like a huge marketing budget that buying their token at launch, someone who's like half in, half out the market, there's 5% circulating over the next 5 years is going to be 100%. They might just think, oh well, everything I've known about investing, I'd just buy and hold it. They've been diluted 20x. This is what I don't like. There's like, don't market to the average person on the street that doesn't necessarily know what is going on under the hood and tell them that it's like a really super sound investment. If you want to like you need to be as close to like what Hyperliquid has done as physically possible. I appreciate it can't be done as perfectly as that is physically possible, but you also have to give your early users and your early adopters the opportunity to make money, and they will like be your evangelists, and they will sing from the rooftops about how good they are. They'll go to bat for you. They will do absolutely everything that you need to do from a organic community and viral marketing perspective. Just don't be fucking greedy, and it's really that simple.
Pump is a no. I'm get yeah. Because what I was going to say is it's a platform built
routes. So
an extra.
Two different routes
Yeah,
from an equal and opposite reaction, in my opinion.
and then again, the fundamental bottom line point is if you're talking about a trade, the argument that you're making is that it's nonsensical to not trade the pump token because as long as there's attention, there's volume, and so on and so forth. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not saying it's bullshit that we are in this position. But that's just the nature of the market that we're in.
Yeah, and they've also got $2 billion worth of cash that might find its way back into buying some of the token.
Well, funny you say that. So where we go from here next. Now, usually I will I'll read this stuff out. I can't read this out. I can't.
Yeah, we will definitely be doing live streams on Pump.fun if we do read this out.
Yeah. So this has been said today. I'm sorry, Spotify people. You're gonna just have to. Yeah.
Have to go to YouTube like a normal person.
Elon said this. Fuck it. Something mode. And then Pump also tweeted this, which is obviously mascot was busy bringing Pump to the world. Now it's time to lock back into the trenches. Now, for some context here, seeing Tyler did it as tweeted and said, looks like the Pump Fund buyback wallet just added another $16 million. Pump at 6.8 bill FDV and moving. And then at the time of us recording this, the live price of Pump is 0.067. It's up 13.1% in the last 24 hours. Is that what goes on from here? So we've had an entire segment about extraction and horse shit and how Pump is the devil and all this kind of thing, regardless of which side of the fence you sit on. But does this support the argument that you've been making to just trade?
Yeah, come on, it's like trade the attention, and if there's going to be, I don't know, 100 million that gets used to buy the token, maybe that 100 million is what gets used to buy the token. That's what gets used for the airdrop. Like, I don't know. But like, come on, they're like loading a wallet up and just buying the token. It literally couldn't be any easier. And I think they run, as I say, the hottest casino on the planet. If they know how market dynamics, they probably know how market dynamics work better than anyone. They've got really, really good people who understand what gets the industry to tick around them. It's just obvious. The thing is, it's like, because it is so contentious and a lot of people really, really, really do not want to see it do well, they will associate good token with good product, or bad token with bad product. Yeah. If it continues to rip, people are just going to inevitably buy later. It's like, I learned this very, very, very hard lesson by not buying Bored Apes when I could have. I hated it, but I just should have just ignored like the visceral reaction I had to it and just bought it. And I will never, ever, ever do it again. Ever.
Look, there is all sorts of questions that I could throw up here about like moral trading and like how with what everything we're talking about, because one of my things that I hate most about this space is the presumption in certain markets that bad token equals bad team, bad product. And what I don't like is this just further exasperates that, because not only does it suck liquidity and volume from tokens that deserve it, frankly, how long does this go on for before we hopefully see the paradigm switch that you're talking about? Because I need that to happen.
I think it takes a lot longer than you'd think, which is probably not what you want to hear. But what you could say is this is potentially the the final stretch for the launchpad, in my opinion.
Okay.
Like, where do you really go from there? Because what happens then is, let's say bonk and pump and fucking whatever else you want to insert there as like a launch pad. You've had your token launch, you send a few tokens, you fucking send a couple of them to over 100 mil, maybe you send a couple of them to a billion. The opportunity's there to play that in the meantime. Where do you go after that? Do you just continue to bolt on more fundamentally sound aspect of it? Starting to fund streamers, trying to take on TikTok, trying to take on like YouTube, that inherently then starts pushing you into a more fundamentally sound product, which inherently removes the speculative factor. How many meme coins have like succeeded by going from meme coin then trying to be utility? Only Bonk out of the millions that have launched. So it's like, I think it kind of like caps. I don't know when it stops. There's a lot of money there to be pumped into each launchpad and each ecosystem, but yeah, people just move on to the next casino regardless. So we'll have to see.
Well, thoughts on this? So, Chickcoin quote tweeted Elon's tweet that we've just covered and said, "Damn, he's really going to migrate Pump to Bonk and claim Bonk was his idea from the beginning." Thinking mode.
Don't know.
Don't know. Yeah. Many. Yeah.
It's good. It's like
I'm just looking at the clock at 45 minutes, and I'm thinking about everywhere else we could take this conversation, and I'm also thinking about how many people will take what we've covered probably the wrong way. The wrong or the right way, regardless of which way you take it, it just is. I think which is the fundamental argument that you're making. It just is what it is.
Yeah, it is. I seen this week by putting out a few kind of like tweets based on some of the stuff that I learned over the years from trading, and like just gets people like worked up the wrong way. Like, you just need to see things like extremely objectively, and it's like take the emotion out of it, and it becomes quite easy, really.
Yeah. Right. Well.
Cool.
I think that's that.
Seems as though we had nothing 45 minutes ago, I think that was all right.
Yeah. So let's see what we can do with chopping this one up segment wise, because Pump, let us know what you're thinking. If you bought it, are you trading it? Like, subscribe. I'll keep saying it for as long as you lot keep not doing it. So yeah, look, a lot we got out of that one. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next week.